The Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Dr. Naledi Pandor, is about to address members of the media on the country's state of readiness for the upcoming 15th BRICS Summit. Let's take you live there now.
Together, BRICS has around 42% of the world's population, nearly 30% of the world's territory, around 27% of global GDP, and around 20% of international trade. We're privileged as South Africa to be chair of BRICS this year. This is the third time we've been chair since the invitation to join BRICS in 2010. You would be familiar with our theme, which is BRICS and Africa, Partnership for Mutually Accelerated Growth, Sustainable Development, and Inclusive Multilateralism. This theme reflects our vision of BRICS providing global leadership in addressing the needs and concerns of the majority of the world's population, these being beneficial economic growth, sustainable development, and inclusion of the global South in multilateral systems and institutions. Furthermore, our theme reflects our belief in the benefits a partnership with Africa can bring to BRICS, with our partners eager to explore opportunities to support and benefit from operationalization of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Since January this year, we have held a large number of meetings of BRICS across all three pillars of cooperation. The three pillars are: 1, political and security; 2, economic and financial; and the third pillar, social and people-to-people cooperation. Our Deputy Minister, Mashigo Dlamini, chaired the 9th meeting of BRICS Deputy Foreign Ministers and Special Envoys on the Middle East and North Africa in a hybrid meeting on the 26th of April, 2023. The meeting of MENA, as we call it, reflected on the ongoing complex geopolitical challenges faced by the region. The whole world has noted the positive developments in the region since China brokered a rapprochement between Saudi Arabia and Iran. This historic agreement demonstrates the power of dialogue and mediation in a region where military options are often the norm. I hosted, as you're aware, my fellow BRICS foreign ministers in Cape Town in June this year, where we had frank and constructive discussions on global political and economic developments, on the new development bank, and on preparations for the 15th BRICS Summit, as well as looking at BRICS institutional development. We were later joined at that meeting by 13 foreign ministers from African and developing countries for a Friends of BRICS foreign ministers meeting. It was an opportunity for us to strengthen our global partnerships and highlight our shared concerns about the impact of global power contestation on the global economy as well as on world and people development. Our friends value BRICS as a champion of South-South cooperation in a multipolar world and called on BRICS as foreign ministers that we should continue to advance reform of the global multilateral architecture and that we should reinforce the purposes and the principles of the UN Charter. Last week, the BRICS Civil Forum, BRICS Ministers of Communication, BRICS Ministers of Health, and BRICS Ministers of Science and Innovation concluded their meetings. The meetings were held in Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, and Gqeberha. As Cabinet, we have encouraged that BRICS meetings should be held in different towns and cities so that our guests get a wide range of experience of our beautiful country. It is also important that the tangible economic benefits of hosting our BRICS partners are experienced in a variety of communities, and we hope more communities will develop the ability and facilities to host such meetings. The impact of the end of the pandemic has provided diverse options for arranging meetings either in person, virtually, or indeed in a hybrid format. These options allow for greater flexibility to our relationship and do limit some of the expenses that are related to the number of BRICS cooperation mechanisms that we now have as part of the forum. Today, we are also looking forward to the outcomes of the virtual BRICS Ministers of Trade and BRICS Ministers of Industry meetings, as well as to the oncoming start of the BRICS Ministers of Agriculture meeting in Limpopo. We have sincerely welcomed the mainstreaming of youth across our sectoral meetings, as well as with the Youth Summit held recently and reporting to the BRICS ministers responsible for youth. The Young Scientist Competition, which was held alongside the BRICS Ministers of Science and Innovation, is another example of this broadening of sectoral collaboration. And of course, we had the 5th BRICS Youth Energy Summit last week. The reports of all these will be conveyed to the BRICS ministers of the sectors, as well as the Youth Energy Summit.
We had to come out of that. That was Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Dr. Naledi Pandor, just giving a briefing around the upcoming summit, the 15th BRICS Summit, of course, just the readiness around that summit. The summit will take place on the 22nd to the 24th of August. Dr. Pandor just saying that, several matters will be under discussion, including security and economic matters and other geopolitical matters, under 3 specific pillars. But we'll definitely give you more update in terms of what was said in that meeting, particularly the readiness of the summit.